and MasterCard, UEFA Champions League sponsor.
There have been many famous European nights here on Merseyside over the years, and tonight promises to be something special. Anfield rarely fails to deliver on the big occasion, and with these two sides, drama is guaranteed as Liverpool and Manchester City go head-to-head for a place in the Champions League semi-finals.
Liverpool, Manchester City, Klopp, Guardiola. Modern artists for whom every pitch is a blank canvas. Guardiola, the orchestrator of precision and construction. Ordered, delicate, graceful.
Lovely goal.
Utterly sublime.
They are flying.
Klopp, the master of expressing passion, free-flowing dynamism,
Deadly.
beauty from chaos, his energy relentless. Contrasting artists, but two masterpieces. Chaos versus beauty. Liverpool versus Manchester City. Anfield, our canvas.
It's the 10th All-English Champions League knockout tie. Liverpool have been involved in 6 of those. This has all the makings of the best yet. A fascinating evening lies ahead here at Anfield. Kickoff is 7:45 and we're also available in 4K with Dolby Atmos on BT TV channel 433. A huge game to look forward to tonight, but first some sad news to report with the passing of Ray Wilkins. I was fortunate to play with Ray, with England. Not only was he a wonderful footballer, he was also a delightful man. I'll never forget how supportive he was to this young player when he broke into the England squad. He'll be much missed. He was an enormously popular man, Frank. Obviously you were with him at Chelsea for a substantial period of time.
Yeah, I think his football career speaks for itself. Incredible player, but more than that, a great man. I have to say, he was kind, he was generous, he was class. He cared about everyone he touched in his life would have known what a great man he was, and I feel for his family incredibly. Everybody at Chelsea, but more than that, everybody, as I say, who was around him. I can't speak highly enough. He was one of the best. We've lost one of the absolute best gentlemen at such a young age, so sudden. I can't believe it. I'm absolutely devastated. And again, I want to pass on all of our regards to Jackie, his wife, and his family.
Yeah, share those emotions. As a footballer, you must have admired him, Rio.
Yeah, I did, and I was very fortunate as a young kid. I was at QPR as a young boy, and he had probably 2 years I was there watching closely from the stands. We got free tickets, so we popped in, and you just saw what a great man he was in terms of teaching the other players on the team. You get a lot of players that get experienced and get older, and they're just thinking about themselves. He was very much about other people, guiding people through the game, talking them through, cajoling. And for a young player like the likes of Trevor Sinclair and Impey coming through at that point, he would have been a godsend. So, like Frank says, I'd like to reiterate that. Yeah. Not only a great footballer, but a great man.
And it's like one of the football family has left us, isn't it, in many ways, Stephen? He was so universally popular amongst his peers.
Very popular. You know, a lot of people are saying great things about him today, and deservedly so. And you know, a midfield player that I grew up watching tapes of and trying to emulate, and I'm watching his different range of passing. It's such a sad day, you know, 61's far too young.
It is very young, and he played 84 times for England, Frank. I mean, he wasn't just the lovely guy that everybody knew. He wasn't just a terrific coach, but he was also a fabulous footballer.
Fabulous footballer, came through the ranks at Chelsea. But then, you know, we're seeing a goal in the FA Cup final for Manchester United here, but one of the first players to take the chance and go and play abroad in a foreign country, which is not easy. But
and very successfully.
Very successful there. I believe AC Milan players are bringing out some flowers from their game today because, as I said before, he leaves an imprint on people wherever he goes. He could have gone to anywhere in the world, any place in the world, and people would not forget the moment they met Ray Wilkins. Special man.
I totally concur. Ray played for 84 times for England, as I just said. Gareth Southgate, who is here tonight, has been speaking to Des Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us, Gareth. I know you want to pay tribute to Ray Wilkins, not just on behalf of the FA, but as a friend of yours as well.
No, absolutely. I played with Ray. He had an illustrious career, obviously captain of Chelsea at 18, Manchester United, PSG, Milan, and then he had about 67 minutes with us at Crystal Palace, and it was a pleasure to work with him. I mean, we had 6 months with him. I used to room with him in that spell. I was 23, 24 captain, but he was 35 and had the respect of everybody. We were a group of young upstarts. He was a class act, and you could see then this perception of what he was as a player. His technical ability was incredible, and an absolute gentleman to work with. Top professional. Taught all of us so much about how we should act and behave and prepare for games. So it was a privilege to have known him.
You'll be sorely missed.
No, he will, and most of all, as always at these times, as a person, because I think universally respected by everybody within football. Just had time for everybody, and a real enthusiast for the game. He's been a fantastic ambassador.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Des.
Ray Wilkins, who died today, aged 61. Our thoughts are with Jackie and the family. On to a game that Ray would have loved. We're here on Merseyside for Liverpool versus Manchester City, and if this season's games are anything to go by, we're in for quite something here at Anfield. Liverpool's fans certainly know how to do European nights. This is their 14th quarter-final on Europe's biggest stage. But it's been some time since their last one against Chelsea back in 2009. Top scorers in this year's competition with 28 goals. The Reds have scored 113 in all this season, including 4 here when defeating Manchester City in the league, which remains their only defeat. They're unbeaten in their last 14 European matches here at Anfield and know how important tonight is if they're to reach the semi-finals for the first time since 2008. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City side might have beaten Everton at Goodison Park on Saturday to get within 3 points of the title, but Manchester City as a club don't travel well to this side of Stanley Park. City have won just once here in 37 years, back in 2003. However, this current side is rewriting the history books on a weekly basis. They stand on course to break all manner of records in the league. But the City project has always had the Champions League as its goal. Their best ever performance was reaching the semi-finals 2 years ago. This year, they have the personnel to go all the way. Elsewhere tonight, Lionel Messi's quest for another Champions League continues as Barcelona welcome Roma to the Camp Nou. Coverage starts over on BT Sport 3 from 7 o'clock. Well, you've all played in these nights, haven't you? English club against English club in the Champions League. Tell me what it's like.
It's a nightmare, really. Yeah.
In what way is it a nightmare?
It's just different, you know a lot about each other. It's more painful if you're on the wrong end of one.
But surely it's more joyous if you're on the right end of one.
Yeah, of course. And I've sampled both. And the crowd will play a big part here tonight today. I think it's very important from a City point of view to get over the first 20 minutes because having experienced this crowd and the buzz it can give you from the off.
People always talk about the crowd here, Stephen. Does it really make that much of a difference?
On these type of nights, Gary, it does. You know, they're described as the 12th man and the noise. You can see them here in the thousands from 4:30, 5 o'clock this afternoon. So, yeah, it is a big advantage, especially on nights like this.
It's quite heated out there, isn't it? Look at that. You've got flares going, police horses around. Things being thrown. Hopefully it doesn't get totally out of hand, but it's not a warm welcome for Manchester City's players.
No, but this is what it's all about. I think, it doesn't matter who you are as a player, what you've done, this can't help but affect you to a degree. Now, you need to try and focus and let it affect you in the right way, but the bounce effect it will give to those Liverpool players, you can feel like you're ready for it, but the moment you go out there and playing against Steve's teams back in the day, you couldn't breathe for that first 20 minutes. They were all over you. They suffocated you because they had this extra energy, and that's what this crowd bring.
Yeah, I think you've played Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester United in Champions League matches. Does it differ considerably from playing against, say, a foreign team?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's more of a leveller. I think you understand so much about each other that I don't think you have that thing where, for instance, if Liverpool, they need a result here tonight, of course a positive result, but you can still see them getting a result at City. I think the home and away thing, the aspect of that slightly changes. But as Stephen said, the main thing I remember is the fear going into it. We do not want to lose this game because of what it means, and all those players will have that at the moment.
Yeah. How was it for you? Because you played against Arsenal and Chelsea in the competition, Rio. I mean, obviously you're all playing for England at the same time as well.
That's what I was going to come to. The stakes are higher because you know at some point I'm going to see Steven Gerrard or I'm going to see Frank Lampard at England. And I don't want them walking in with a medal or with one up on me. And that was the kind of fear factor as well, that you just sit there and think, I can't have them doing that. Yeah. And that adds more pressure to the situation. Added to that Anfield, which, as their boys are saying about the fans, what they generate here, it makes for a fantastic evening.
Is it stronger here at Anfield than any other ground in this country? The atmosphere? Or Well,
it can be, but I think, based as a Manchester United player, when I was there, coming here was the loudest, was the most angry, volatile fans against us.
Seen a bit of that.
Yeah, and it was all about the first, when we was in change room, it was all about the first 10-15 minutes. It's whether that storm, we know their fans are going to be up for it, we know they're going to push them on for that first 10-15 minutes. If we can take the sting out of the game and quieten the fans a little bit, then we got a chance. You don't want to go 1-0 down early here. Difficult place.
Well, we're just hearing that the teams are coming through, so let's have a look at starting with the Liverpool team. Stephen, talk us through it. Is it what you expected? There it is.
Yeah, certainly the top three. I think they speak for themselves. Milner obviously coming in for Emre Can, who I think will be a miss tonight because he does well against City, certainly in previous games. I think it's a huge test for both Liverpool fullbacks, especially Trent, who's made
inexperienced there.
Yeah, inexperience, and also on the back of a couple of individual mistakes. You know, it's the biggest game of his career tonight. He's going to be a fantastic footballer, Gary, there's no doubt about that. He'll go on to play for England, but he's still learning the position. He's still learning being a first-team player, so it's a huge night and a big test for Trent tonight.
But that front three, hard to control.
Yeah, and I think hard to control against anybody, but I think if you look at City and the way they play, they open up and try and play, and those three will pressurise them, and also they like to play hard at the pitch. And if you want to talk about a team with pace and directness to hurt you, you're looking at those three players down.
Let's have a look at the Manchester City starting lineup, and I think the one thing that's just been yelled at in my ear is that Gundogan is in for Raheem Sterling, who's generally struggled when he's returned here to Anfield. So perhaps not an enormous surprise, Rio.
Yeah, and I think Pep would have looked at that and thought, right, I'm going to have someone who comes in here who won't be affected by the crowd. Previously played for Liverpool, Sterling did, and he's been one of their best players and most productive players, so it's a big call. But let's look at that forward line that you've got there, the front three. I saw Sane last week against Everton. He hugs that width. He'll be playing against Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's weaknesses, yes, for the Liverpool defence, but these guys here, they have it as well. They've got to do the defending as well. It's not going to be an easy game for this Manchester City team at all.
Surprised to see Sterling left out, Steve?
Yes and no. Yes, because he's in terrific form and he's having a fantastic season. But I think he's shown Liverpool a sign of respect tonight, because they came here really bold and really open with Sterling in the team, and they were blown away in the first 45 minutes. So I think it's a big respect for the Liverpool players leaving him out.
I think he's looking for midfield domination there. I think De Bruyne by nature will come inside and get those bodies. I think Pep Guardiola teams, we know them over the years, want to dominate midfield, gives them control of the game. So I think you'll see a lot of their bodies, top quality bodies in midfield, trying to get possession of the ball.
Yeah, looking at the two sides there, we talked about possible inexperience for Liverpool in the full-back positions. Trent Alexander-Arnold is something that you've looked at, Ria?
Yeah, and his last two games, Manchester United at Old Trafford. I mean, this kid's going to be a top player, like Stevie said, but that run inside him from Rashford results in a goal. And you look to the next game when he plays against Crystal Palace a couple of weeks later after the national break, and you think, has he learnt from it? We see here straight away, early on, Wilfried Zaha would have had this on his mind. He'd have seen the tapes, and he hadn't learned then. He's got to learn today, because he's playing against Sane. For me, the best young player in the world at the moment, just behind probably Mbappe. On form, he's been fantastic. And this kid here, he's going to be a great defender, but you've got to learn from your mistakes. And as a kid, you don't want to keep making the same mistakes. The last two games, he's made mistakes that have resulted in goals. Today, he needs to get a big performance. And we're talking before about when do you know that you're comfortable.
These are games that can make or break you, aren't
Yeah, but when do you know that you're actually comfortable in your position and what you're doing? And it is probably, as a defender especially, a bit later, 24. He's what is he, 20 years old? 19 years old. Wow. So he's got time to learn, but this is a great game. He has a good one here. The world's his oyster, but again, it's mentally, can he get through it?
But he's up against Sane, and he's a specialist, and he's Rio said certainly one of the best young players in world football.
I think he's a defender's nightmare for a few reasons. He's exceptional in 1v1 situations. He can combine and go round you. Look how direct and just the speed here. It's not on from him. He turns back inside, little nutmeg, and he's also got fantastic vision. So when he gets in these dangerous areas, he's always playing with his head up and looking for his teammates for assists. I mean, you see the overload, the space it creates on the other side, because 2 or 3 defenders are worried about him. He's going to be world class. Potentially has the attributes to become the best in the world, because look at these goals. He's still a baby, and he's affecting games at the top level. What a touch that is! And I mean, we rave about him all season, haven't we?
Yeah, and I think as a defender for Trent, the worry is, and for any defender really, he can go both ways. He doesn't have to go. You can show, most times you can show a winger the line and say he's predominantly left-footed. We'll show him down there and I'll race him to the line. This guy will pretend to go down. He'll come inside and he's just as comfortable. For a defender, it's a nightmare. That.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to race him either, would you?
I certainly wouldn't.
he's rapid.
He's got everything. He's also very intelligent. He plays a simple pass, and then all of a sudden he runs at people. He's got the lot, and he's going to get better.
Frank, when they lost here, Manchester City 4-3, they didn't have David Silva. I mean, it does make a massive difference, doesn't he? He's such a beautiful footballer.
Oh, he's beautiful. He's for me, one of the greatest players of the Premier League era, and I was fortunate enough to have 1 year playing with him, and I can see why he has this effect in the so-called bigger games for them, because he's so comfortable on the ball. He wants to receive it in any area. He's never scared of a close marking of people touch him, because he's already aware of what he wants to do. And what that does, it rubs off on the whole team. Everybody all of a sudden sees David Silva willing to accept the ball in tough areas, willing to wriggle away from trouble, and he makes everyone have that kind of confidence. Now, he plays at his own pace. He's so aware. If you're watching this little bit against Arsenal, he lends the ball, he gets it back, he lends the ball, it's going to come back to him. He's telling people where to go, he makes the right angles, his touch is always supreme, and you'll find that he's at the middle of all their good stuff, and sometimes it might be a De Bruyne that makes that sort of killer pass further up the pitch, it might be a Sane with the pace that they inject into the game, but at the middle of it, and in these big games, you'll find David Silva there time in, time again.
Yeah. What's the pivotal thing for Liverpool this evening? What's vital for them?
I think the first 15-20 minutes, I think they need to use the power of the crowd to really unsettle City. They've got to hope that City play the normal game where they're trying to play out and really force them into mistakes. And
Can you see him changing Pep Guardiola, though?
No, but I think at times in this game he'll have to. He'll have to beat Liverpool's first press, because if they overplay in bad areas, Liverpool will punish them.
OK, well, we saw the Manchester City bus arriving. They were pelted with all sorts of different stuff. Des Kelly has got an update on that situation for us.
It's not the start to the evening anyone wanted, particularly the Manchester City players and staff. Their coach has been bottled, attacked on the way in. You can see some shattered glass here. All around the coach there's some damage. The players had smoke as well coming in from the flares. This is exactly what we didn't want at the start of an epic contest.
No, that's not what we really want, is it? Any kind of trouble whatsoever?
No, obviously don't want that. People overstepping the mark and smashing buses up on the way. I'm all for a hostile reception and putting pressure on opposition teams. I think we all like that as part of European football, but no, we don't like to see that.
No, there's a line somewhere.
Yeah, and it's difficult to control everybody. We were watching it out the window, and it was great. We loved the moment and seeing that, and obviously a huge majority of the fans are there to create this environment and atmosphere, but there can be one or two that take it too far, and we don't want to see it. Simple as that.
Rio?
Yeah, it's the same as the lads, really.
Have you experienced this kind of arrival anywhere on buses? And
here.
Experienced a lot when I was in Barcelona. You want to arrive in Madrid?
Yeah, Madrid.
At a Barcelona player.
Valencia. Cool. It does happen. It happens all across Europe, all across the world. But again, there is a level you don't want to go beyond, and that is bottles and stuff smashing against windows. But it does create a great atmosphere once you get out of here.
Excited about this one?
Oh, I can't wait. We've been here for a couple of hours, and there's been people outside, hundreds of couple of thousand people flying about around here, and that when you come out here for a warm-up and you see the fans in here and you feel the vibe in the stadium, the chills, you want to get playing again, don't you?
Oh, yeah. We've got to expect goals as well. I mean, we've got two of the most exciting teams in the Premier League at present. I mean, look at this goals. I mean, they score. It can't be 0-0, surely. Well,
that's not tempt fate, but if two teams from the Premier League are going to give us this Champions League game and give us goals, it's going to be these two. They play. That's why we love watching these two. Whether you're a fan of theirs or not, they play attacking football. Both managers, that's their philosophy. That's the way they want to play. So you have to expect goals.
They've brought some spectacular stuff to our league, these two managers, haven't they? In their manner of their play, their style of their play, their attacking nature.
Amazing, and it's been a great spectacle. I think the difference when the likes of me and Frank and Rio played against each other, it was managers who were more cagey, more tactical, and we almost cancelled each other out. But these managers just love it. Yeah. They just go for it, and it's great for us sitting here going to watch it.
The game's evolved in many ways, hasn't it? It's become more positive, and you kind of hope that every manager takes it on board.
And I think the key thing with these two managers, they don't change their philosophy based on opponents. They believe in what they do and 100% behind that.
OK, well, time for another break. Still to come, we speak with Liverpool's Flying Scotsman, Andy Robertson, on his season so far. Pep Guardiola will give us his thoughts ahead of kick-off, and we'll hear from Kevin De Bruyne, who looked to have the Player of the Year award sewn up at Christmas until Mo Salah came along.
Everything he touches turns to gold.
He has been a revelation this season, Mo Salah.
The twinkling feet, the ice-cold finish, the Egyptian on fire.
Kevin De Bruyne, out of this world. He can find gaps and openings that just don't exist.
The best player on the pitch.
The best player in the country.
Best midfield player in the world.
I think we're witnessing the start of greatness.
Ridiculous. Without even trying. How did he do this?
Salah! What's about it? De Bruyne! Oh! Beautiful strike. Absolutely brilliant.
He's playing like a superstar.
As ever, as always, week on week, goal after goal. Kevin De Bruyne, and oh, how clever was that? The hottest property in the Premier League right now.
This programme was brought to you by
Welcome to Anfield for a European night with a difference. We've had 10 all-English Champions League ties down the years. They've never failed to deliver.
Liverpool have the history.
City are breaking records and they are making history.
City soaring in Europe. That's brilliant from Manchester City. They are flying.
We've got the main men going head to head.
Liverpool against Manchester City. If it's like their league games, we're in for quite a ride.
A goal-scoring avalanche.
You can almost feel that tension.
It's one of those nights you just don't want to miss. Liverpool, 5 times winners of Europe's Premier Cup competition, face a City side that promises to be one of the best club sides this country has ever seen. It's been a sellout almost from the moment the draw was made. Fans have travelled from every corner of the world for it. And if you couldn't get here, sit back and relax because you're in for a cracker. There have been a fair few all-English Champions League games here at Anfield. This promises to be right up there with the best of them. Kick-off is at 7:45. With us tonight, 3 men who know everything about these huge nights. Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard and Rio Ferdinand. This game promises so much. It can't disappoint, can it?
Impossible. I mean, with 2 forward lines that we're going to see on show tonight, we expect goals, men in form, and I think it boils down to the result tonight, who defends better, actually. Everyone's talking about the front men on show, but both teams have got weaknesses in defence, and it's important that they defend perfectly tonight.
I suppose if there's any team that perhaps Manchester City wouldn't want to face, it's quite possibly Liverpool.
Yeah, well, I think they're the only team this season that has gone toe-to-toe with them and beat them here. And we all know that, and Manchester City will be very well aware of that. And as I mentioned earlier, I think it's the pace in this Liverpool front three and the way they like to attack and attack the space. And Pep Guardiola mentioned it before yesterday. He was saying, you know, they can cause problems running behind. And there is no way of coping with it. You have to hope that they're not at their best. You have to hope that you do the right things and try and stop them. But I just feel if Manchester City get possession of the ball, take control of the game, not just tonight but over the 2 legs, I think that they're so strong it'd be really hard to bet against them.
Yeah, you can probably see the teams scrolling across at the bottom of the screen there. Perhaps the one big surprise, well, not necessarily a surprise, but because a lot of people thought he might leave Sterling out, and he did, and he's brought in Gundogan.
Yeah, I think the only reason Sterling's not playing is because of this stadium, and he's tied to the club. He played there for a little while, and when he's been back, he's not been at his supreme best. He's been one of the most productive players in a City shirt this year. But this is Pep Guardiola doing his thing. I believe this is what I see. This is what I think I'm going to get the best out of players tonight.
But if that
means a big decision.
But if that means De Bruyne plays in a slightly different role, could that affect Manchester City in a negative way?
No, I think, again, like we spoke about before, they'll gain more possession like this. I think Kevin De Bruyne will maybe play a bit further forward, but Gundogan, he's another player who likes to get under the ball. He likes him and Silva interchanging. I think they'll dominate the midfield, and I think the biggest problem for Manchester City is actually when they have the ball, especially in deep areas in their own half, is not getting caught. I think they're going to be put under extreme pressure. If they can actually withstand that press and get out from there, that's when they're going to be at their most dangerous.
You've got 2 teams that like to play that high press, and
yeah, and I think with Liverpool having the crowd here tonight, it's important that they come right out the blocks and make it really uncomfortable for City.
Be bold.
Be bold and be brave. And I think teams that play against City that just sit back and wait, you're almost waiting to be beat. Liverpool go the other way about it and really be confident and really force them into mistakes with the high press and really aggressive, winning the ball back in good areas. And then when you do get in, show your quality, like they did here with Mane, with strike, left foot right to the top corner, excellent finish.
Yeah.
They did it brilliantly there. Those clips show how well they did it here. But on the flip side for Liverpool, if they make that press, if City are bold, if they can get out, then they will leave a lot of space here. And you have to think if City can score away goals here, it's going to put them in a great position. That's why this game is so exciting tonight, because the different contrasting styles between the two teams.
And if you can beat the press and even a little bit more direct in many ways.
It all opens up, and they've got a goalkeeper here who can probably hit someone's chest from 50 yards, not a problem. We saw him do it against Everton at the weekend, and that opens up the game as well. And it won't be a long, aimless long ball. It'll be, hang on, where can we go? We've created that space, somebody moves into the space, and I'm just going to hit it exactly where I want to hit it. and then you have to get up the pitch and play that. Listen, I don't think that you can rule out that style for City. I think they will have to do it at a certain time tonight. It's too important. This is the one from the weekend. I mean, this is just great stuff. Take them away, look at those front three, taking them Everton defenders away, leaving the space, timing's perfect, pass is perfect, and then the rest is just about ability and a quick break. Now, if Liverpool give them those chances, then we know they can destroy them.
I think a big thing as well is Klopp is bold, and I think Klopp is one of a handful only of managers in the world who doesn't feel inferior to Pep Guardiola. He'll go out there and base his own game on his own tactics and what he believes in, and will go direct for that. And I think that's a huge thing for this Liverpool team. Aligned with the stadium, I think they're with a great shout, but I think they have to come away with something here to go to the Etihad to get something from the whole tie.
OK, time to go pitchside. Des Kelly is down there for us. Des?
Thanks, Gary. I'm with our two co-commentators, Steve McManaman and Glenn Hoddle. A bit of chaos. Is it a bit chaotic around the ground at the moment? You've been outside.
It's been chaotic since about 4 o'clock. I think fans were gathering, enjoying themselves, having a beer. It got out of hand near the end, as you can see, as your report showed before. With the bus, of course it is. We don't want to see that. But it's a lot quieter in the stadium, which is good. Yeah,
Jurgen said he's apologised on behalf of Liverpool for that. Yeah. Glenn, let's talk about tonight's team. Raheem Sterling's absent tonight. Gundogan comes in. Does that suggest something different?
Yeah,
obviously,
I think Guardiola is just looking to maybe tighten it up a little bit, believe it or not. And I think it's a key thing. I think De Bruyne will probably be released a little bit, so they still come with an emphasis of attack and keep the ball, but there's just a little bit of more of a tightness in that midfield. I think he'll want to run the midfield if he can, so I think that extra player in there might just be the key to it.
Do you think he's taken Raheem out just because of this kind of reception we're hearing, because he would have got that through the 90 minutes?
I honestly don't know if Raheem's fitting well. I presume he'd be very disappointed. He played well against Everton at the weekend, scored a goal, so for him not to play tonight must be a kick in the teeth, really, because this is the biggest game around. This was far bigger than Everton it was at the weekend, so maybe he's gone for a different kind of formation, as Glenn just rightly said. But if you were him personally, you'd be upset, because you'd want to come back. He's in great form and show the fans what they've been missing.
And again, Laporte plays as full-back. He's not a natural full-back. That's a difficult night for him against Mo Salah.
Well, it will be difficult, but I think Guardiola has put him in there for that purpose. He's not going to bomb forward. Normally you see City with their full-backs bombing forward or coming into midfield. He'll sit there and it'll be like a lopsided three at the back. He's not going to go forward and get caught out, where Salah now is going to be 1v1 against the centre-back, which happened before that Mane got sent off, if you remember, over at the Etihad. So I think that's a real tactical bit of nous to say he's not going to go anywhere. Look after Salah. He's the danger man. He'll stop this crowd. He'll stop this team from really hurting us. That's your job tonight.
Tactical nous, we'll get that, but it'll all go flashing past us in a blur. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Des. It certainly promises to be a dramatic night here at Anfield. Just a reminder that the other game this evening between Barcelona and Roma is over on BT Sport 3. Both games exclusively live on BT Sport, and both games look sure to provide a bucket full of goals. It's a night where you certainly wouldn't want to be a goalkeeper. Edison and Loris Karius would be forgiven for asking for some extra protection, considering these sides have scored an incredible 237 goals between them this season. The front threes on show here at Anfield just don't come much better.
Lovely goal. He's on fire. Beautifully done. Glittering piece of team play. The flat three, all on the score sheet.
Welcome back to Anfield. Big night for Jurgen Klopp. His record against Pep Guardiola is better than any other manager in world football. Can he do it again? There's his Liverpool side warming up for a huge night here at Anfield. Manchester City's players out on the field of play as well. So much expectancy, so much brilliance we've seen from them this season. Much of Manchester City's unstoppable form at home and abroad is down to the mercurial talents of Kevin De Bruyne. Des Kelly sat down with the brilliant Belgian yesterday.
Maybe a lot of people would prefer that we play teams out of other countries. I don't know. But in the end, if you try and win something, you need to win against everybody. So it doesn't really change it. But it's going to be an interesting game. It's two teams who like to attack, so it's going to be a good pace also. We will need to be at our best to win it, obviously. The coach thinks that this is the best way for us to play to win something, and that's the way we go forward. How other teams play, that's their decision, that's their style, but I think that's a good thing. It's not easy to change like 10, 15 players in a squad in like 2 years, so it took his time to rebuild probably this team, to put a lot of youngsters into it, a lot of energy, a lot of pace. So we have the League Cup. We're very close to the Premier League, so we would like it to get the Champions League, obviously. But I think that's a remarkable thing to do this in like 10 years. To be where they are and be a brand like they already are in the world is a big thing, I guess. They're doing very well. They don't lose a lot of games, and they did well against us at Anfield in the game. But in the end, it's a different competition. Every competition is different because the Premier League is 90 minutes. If you lose, you go on. If you lose here, or in the 2 games, you're out, and then it's different. So you can always come back in the Premier League. You cannot do it in the Champions League.
Who do we vote for Footballer of the Year?
I vote for Salah.
You did?
Yeah.
Because?
Because he deserves it. If it's, I think, nobody from our team, I think Salah deserves it. He's up there probably with Kane, me, and David for me. They're the 4 best players of this year constantly, and a very good team.
2 fabulous players enjoying brilliant seasons. Stephen, where would your vote go? No bias, please.
Can't we have 2?
You feel like they should share it this season. It's phenomenal, both of them.
I think they both deserve it, and I think in terms of Kevin De Bruyne, obviously up to a certain point in the season he was the top man, by far out on his own in terms of form, and there'd certainly be no complaints from a Liverpool point of view if he went and got it. I think in Salah's favour, he's come strong right at the right time.
Yeah, because the votes are this week.
When you do your sheets and stuff, but both in the form of their life, and very, very difficult to separate, but 2 very different players.
Yeah, very different in many ways. I think in Europe's top 5 leagues, actually in league football, Mo Salah's scored more goals than anyone else, and De Bruyne has had more assists than anyone else. So it's what you value more, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's very hard to split them. I mean, you could look at it from the angle of what Kevin De Bruyne has done for Manchester City, who are going to win the title. You know, that seems seemingly a fact at the moment. So what he's done there, but then this man, what he's done, and particularly as Stephen said, he's stepped up another level in the last month with his 6 weeks of scoring goals, consistently doing it, affecting every game that he's involved in. Elevated himself to a player who is now on the world scene in a big way. You know, he's right up there with the top players in the world. These kind of goals are very Messi-like, as we know. So how can you split them?
Yeah, it's difficult.
Well, what I love about them, to be honest, is that they've both had disappointments. And for young guys coming through the game, these guys are at the top of their game. One of them going to be Player of the Year. But they've had disappointing moments in their early parts of their career. And they've gone away, dusted themselves down and come back. And they've learned.
Both at Chelsea.
And both at Chelsea. But I think with Kevin De Bruyne, I think with especially attacking with flair players, sometimes you need that little bit of luck to finally just come across a manager who can actually sees the game a little bit like yourself, the way you see it. And I think that's with Kevin De Bruyne. He saw the game. He's got pictures in his head that not many players have, and Pep Guardiola sees them, and he's been able to execute that within the framework of this team. And you see the beauty of the way he plays off both feet. he sees early passes earlier than anyone else. Even when you're watching the game on the telly, sometimes you think, where's he seen that from? And the way he can shoot and deliver the last pass, I mean, is stuff to just marvel at times.
I think these two games are pivotal. We know the vote happens early, and I think it has to for certain logistics. But if either of these affect this game and win it for their teams over these two legs, then that probably, they're so close, that probably edges them in front.
Yeah, I saw a lovely story. I hope it's true that Mo Salah in the Egyptian election, even though he wasn't on the ballot paper, got 1 million votes and was actually second.
They were
my experience
as well.
Yeah, exactly. From my experience, you should just stick to football. One player who's won the Cop over almost as much as Mo Salah this season is Andy Robertson. The Scot starts tonight at left back, capping an incredible 12 months.
Andy, what season is 20th appearance looming, and it's the Champions League quarter-final against Manchester City. You must pinch yourself, or do you wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and think, oh God?
No, it's one of the ones where you do, wake up and pinch yourself. The excitement's been building probably since the draw. Obviously both teams have had to focus on getting the league results, which we've both done. But now, it's only round the corner, and the more games you play, the more confident you get. And I feel as if I'm doing that just now, and it'll be on the biggest stage. I'm excited, just like all the other boys, about being able to have a chance of playing in this game, and then hopefully doing your best on the pitch.
Jürgen said that Andy came in and said to me, "Boss, what can I improve?" And I told him I was a little bit disappointed, because I told him to improve in the first conversation he had, but he's gone on and on from there.
He spoke about what he felt I could work on from making the step to Hull to Liverpool, and but when you're signing and you're that excited, it's quite hard to remember everything that everyone says. Obviously, it's highlighted that it was unfortunate that Alberto got injured, but I felt that was my chance to then step up and try and show the manager, the fans, and all the players around about me that I had what it takes to be a Liverpool player. And no disrespect to Hull, but in the Premier League I maybe had 3 or 4 chances to get forward and put in a cross, but now at Liverpool you maybe have 12, so you have more chances to put in balls, and maybe they weren't consistent enough, or you need to find that consistency.
Describe what it's like when the fans are in full voice and they're cheering your name.
For any support to sing your name shows they're appreciating you in that moment, and it's a nice feeling when they sing my name. And quite a lot of the lads have got songs, and we hear them throughout every match. Liverpool fans have always took to the Champions League really well, and they make a very special atmosphere at Anfield, and it can give the lads a bit of a lift, and we all just look forward to the occasion, and once they get in full voice, then hopefully we can help them and give them something to cheer about.
He's settled in very well at Anfield, hasn't he, Steve?
Yeah, he's been really good. He's made that left back spot his own. He's very aggressive, very mobile, and the fans have bought right into him as well. I mean, one thing the fans demand here is effort, desire, a lot of commitment, and
that's the best bit of pressing I've ever seen.
He's got too much of it. But no, I mean, I remember the roar he got from the fans there. But not only that, when he does get in down this left side, he can deliver absolute quality. Great ball there for Salah, and he's a very humble boy as well. I've met him. I think Klopp managed him really well at the beginning, Gary. He never forced them in and rushed it on him. He was very. He bided his time.
Do you think Frankie will be relieved that Sterling's not playing?
Yes, in terms of the 1v1 battle that he would have had, but he's got a different problem now, because he might have to think, do I go inside and mark? Do I go and pick up a Kevin De Bruyne, who's very smart and will try and find spaces slightly inside? So do I go in there? It's definitely another problem. But we've been watching Liverpool this season, and in quite a few seasons now, and the left back's been a real weakness for them. We've seen many a goal go in of players not covering round, making individual mistakes. This boy's come in and made it his own.
Made a real difference. Time for another break. Still so much more to come, including the thoughts of Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp ahead of what promises to be a thrilling night here at Anfield. They have previous, They're next. Welcome back to Anfield for the first leg of this Champions League quarter-final between Liverpool and Manchester City. Two huge games that don't come much bigger. Let's get the thoughts of Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, who've been speaking to Des.
Jurgen, I'm sorry to start on a little bit of a sour note, but we've just seen the Manchester City bus, which has got shattered windows, there's smoke inside, it's shaken up the players a bit. It's a shame to start the evening like this, isn't it?
Absolutely. I really don't understand. There was a lot of talks about that before. We tried everything to avoid a situation like that. So when I came here, we had to take another way as well. So and then we thought, okay, that's already because obviously last time it didn't work too well. So when we came through, it was obviously very positive, but we didn't know when we were in the bus that that happened before because the city was in front of us. So, but yes. For Liverpool FC, I have to say sorry.
I want to say thank you to Jurgen for his words. Apologize. I know I didn't expect that. We didn't expect that. So after what happened last season in Dortmund, so I didn't expect. Yesterday in the press conference, the people asked me about that. I thought the police can know that. Fortunately, it didn't happen. Nothing happened for the players, for our healthy. I know that is not Liverpool. I know the history of that club is much bigger than this 4 or 5 or 10 I don't know, say guys. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Let's get on to the game itself then. When you met City in January, you said to the players they had to take their heart and leave it on the pitch. Is that the message again tonight, that the commitment you need?
Yeah, but that's clear. You cannot only be smart. Tonight you need to put involve passion in that game. It's too intense. It's too difficult. The pitch is too big, simply, to play a cool part in that game. When you have the ball on the other hand side, you need to be smart. You need to be cool. You need to be confident. You need to be good orientated and use the spaces. You could see City changed the formation a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a bit the lineup of the final against Arsenal, if I'm right. And so that shows they want to do something tonight here, and that's what we want.
In football, you have to try to play. So, and of course, you got to be cautious when they have the ball and they attack. We have to defend. So, football, when they have the ball, you have to defend it. When you have the ball, you have to attack. So that is not a secret of that. But the intention, I guess, for our opponents and for ourselves is try to defend and have a ball and try to attack and score goals.
Laporte is a very versatile player. He played left at the weekend in the defence. Big test for him tonight against Mo Salah.
Well, I think all the fullbacks left in the world, they have a big test against Salah, not just Laporte. So, but he did it well, and he's a left foot and is a defender, and going to try to of course, to control the counter-attacks of that guy.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
It's warming up inside Anfield. The atmosphere is getting stronger, as you would expect, as we get towards kick-off. And Rio, this game really is exciting, isn't it? I mean, these two sides that will just go head-to-head at each other.
It's huge. Teams that score goals love to entertain. The two most entertaining teams in the Premier League going head-to-head in the Champions League here. I mean, it's mouth-watering. But what I would say for each dressing room, they've got to be able to mentally get in tune with this game today. Don't be fearful. Go out there and be bold. The two managers both spoke there about being able to go out there and play your game. And it sounds simple, but you've got to be able to deal with the crowd and the expectations from the home fans on the home team. But also, don't be fearful as an away team player coming here and the anger, the noise that comes from the away fans. You've got to deal with that. The top players deal with that and get through it.
That's what top players do, isn't it, Frank? As Rio quite rightly said, you've got to deal with this kind of vitriolic atmosphere.
Yeah, well, I think what you have to do is find a balance between using your heart, you getting an extra yard of adrenaline, home or away players, but staying cool in the moment, because at the end of the day, once the game does settle, it starts to go around the quality that's on show and which team and individuals play the better then. So it's a balance. Use it, but also keep a cool head.
OK, well, the time for talking is over. It's finally upon us. The game we've all been waiting for is just a few minutes away. Salah versus De Bruyne. Klopp against Guardiola. Liverpool and Manchester City face off in an all-English Champions League quarter-final after this break.